Good morning.
It is the 2nd of September. This is Rabbi Levitt, Horeb.
Okay.
Good morning, Rabbi Levitt.
Good morning, Roy. How you doing?
Baruch Hashem. Good morning, Lou.
Yeah, Roy, we're glad that Connor's home.
Yes.
Glad Connor's home. Great.
Yes, she's home. Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem. Chasdei Hashem.
Oh, my ear is coming.
Wow. Yeah, it must be a lot better than being in the hospital. Wow.
It is.
Baruch Hashem.
Page 400, is it?
400. Correct. Yeah, we got a very interesting discussion of cutting down fruit trees, which is the classic case of the pasuk in Parshas Kiseitze about Baltashkis, about not destroying anything. You're not supposed to destroy anything. Pasuk over there is talking about fruit trees. Okay. And now we go to 400. And we're continuing with this subject. And we go to Alan to start the reading for us today.
Okay, there is a less degree of destruction which must nevertheless be avoided. Wasting, for example, discarding the means at your disposal in a manner whereby the desired aim does not correspond to the extent of the divestment. This is an offense of lesser degree, as the things in themselves are not destroyed, but are passed to others for their use. Nevertheless, this is still destruction, since for you they have been destroyed. Every small or large possession which Hashem grants you brings you the duty to make the proper use of it, which also includes parting with it for wise purposes. But if you part with it for unwise purposes, or it for purposes which are praiseworthy in themselves, but in greater quantity that suits the purposes, then you destroy your means unnecessarily. For they cannot then be used by you more wisely or for otherwise purposes, since every means at your disposal imposes upon you the duty of using it wisely. Wasting can be in no way be justified by the argument that others to whom your means have now passed will use them wisely, a possible event which in any case you can never guarantee. That's interesting.
Okay.
It says here,
Yeah.
event which
What's
in
interesting?
any case you can never guarantee. So you never know what's coming, right?
A possible, oh, you like that. Or you don't like that.
You can.
Can't,
there's one more.
there's no guarantee of anything.
It's a bit more.
The only guarantee is that everything is good. That's the only guarantee there is.
Alan,
What it's going to be, you have no idea.
Alan, there's a bit more.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, Roy, you want to take over?
All right, I'll
Take over.
what comes far nearer to destruction, however, is avarice.
Average.
This means regarding things as though possession was their whole purpose and not just means, and using them for unwise purposes which are not demanded by duty. For that which the miser keeps buried and unused in his coffers is destroyed for all mankind, at least for the duration of his life. Add to this that the guilt of our unfulfilled duty rests upon every unused bit of property.
Oh, so avarice means to be stingy.
Mm-hmm.
Like to be a miser. Okay. Figured that one out. Uh-huh. Okay. And okay, so the first thing he started off here in the 400, he was talking about there's a lesser degree of destruction, which is wasting something. Wasting it. It's still destruction. Since for you they have been destroyed. So it's not the type of wasting that we're talking about generally. What is he talking about? You discard it. It's passed on to others for their use. It's a bit difficult, these words over here, to get the whole idea of what's he saying. Every small or large possession which Hashem grants you brings you the duty to make proper use of it, which also includes parting with it for wise purposes. You part with it for unwise purposes, then you destroy your means unnecessarily. Okay. All right. Since every means at your disposal imposes upon you the duty of using it wisely, wasting can in no way be justified by the argument that others to whom your means have now passed will use them wisely, a possible event which in any case you can never guarantee. Okay. All right. We read it. All right. And now we go to 401. It's amazing, you know. It's the English language, but sometimes you can't understand the English language. All right. 401. Yes. How about Lou? Please.
This then is the first law which is opposed to your presumption against things. Regarding things as God's property, regard things as God's property and use them with a sense of responsibility for wise human purposes. Destroy nothing, waste nothing. Do not be avaricious. Be wisely economical with all the means which Hashem grants you, and transform them into as large a sum of fulfillments of duty as possible.
Oh, very good. Okay. A strong finish. We understood it. I think, right? This is clear what he's saying now. He's saying sometimes people say, you know, it's my money. I can do with it what I want, or it's my thing. I can do with it what I want. That's exactly what Rev Hirsch is saying. That is absolutely against the Torah Hashkafa. On the contrary, regard things as Hashem's property. Hashem is the one who owns it, and he gave it to you, and he expects you, he demands that you use it with in a way that he wants you to use it. So that, what does that mean? Just don't destroy it and don't waste it, and use it for something good. And don't be avaricious. Okay, that's the mitzvah of Bal Tashchis. A lot more than fruit trees. It's a lot more than that. Okay. And a round of applause for section 56. Bal Tashchis. We go to Mayor to start off the new section. Oh, you got a lot of psukim over here.
Whoa, okay, 1 second, okay. Economical. Okay, so this is section 57. Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, it says regarding the species as divine order. Okay, so this is from Vayikra. You shall keep my statutes. Thou shalt not let thy cattle gender with a diverse kind. Thou shalt not sow thy field with two kinds of seed. Neither shall there come upon thee a garment with two kinds of stuff mingled together, which I think is called shatnez. Now from Devarim, thou shalt not sow thy vineyard with two kinds of seed, lest the fullness of the seed which thou hast sown be forfeited together with the increase of the vineyard. Thou shalt not plow with an ox and an ass together. Thou shalt not wear a mingled stuff, wool and linen together. And from Shemot, we have, thou shalt not seethe a kid in its mother's milk.
Where does that part come from?
And now from
Where
Brace,
does what part come from?
Thou shalt not seed a kid in a mother's milk.
well, it's really, you shouldn't cook the kid in its mother's milk, something like that.
This is the prohibition of basar v'chalav, milk and meat. That's what it's talking about over there. Why it's talking about a kid and its mother, let's take a look at the Meforshim. But that's the source for the prohibition of milk and meat together. And that's this appears 3 different times in the Chumash. He's quoting one time over here in Exodus. Maybe he'll quote it other places too. It doesn't look like it. But one is to tell you not to cook it together. One is to tell you don't eat it, and the other one is to tell you don't even sell it to somebody else, or even give it to somebody who you're going to have. Now he's machzik tova to you. Now he owes you one. It's also called you benefited from it. Okay.
Okay, now from Breshit. And God said, let the earth put forth grass, herb yielding seed, and fruit tree bearing fruit after its kind, wherein is the seed thereof upon the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, herb yielding seed after its kind, and tree bearing fruit, wherein is the seed thereof after its kind, and God saw that it was good. Okay, and also from Breshit, and God said, let the waters swarm with swarms of living creatures, and let fowl fly above the earth in the open firmament of heavens. And God created the great sea monsters and every living creature that creepeth, wherewith the waters swarmed after its kind, and every winged fowl after its kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let the fowl multiply in the earth. And the final excerpt from Genesis. And God said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after its kind, cattle and creeping thing, and best of the earth after its kind. And it was so. And God made the beast of the earth after its kind, and the cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the ground after its kind. And God saw that it was good.
Hey, very good. Okay. Back to Alan.
in
402.
Excuse me.
Genesis 1, bottom of the page. And Hashem said, let the waters swarm with swarms of living creatures, and let fowl fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And Hashem created the great sea monsters, and every living creature that creepeth, wherewith the waters swarmed after its kind, and every winged fowl after its kind. And Hashem saw that it was good. Hashem blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters of the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth. And God, top of the page. And God said, let the earth bring forth a living creature after its kind, cattle and creeping things, and beast of the earth after its kind. And it was so. And Hashem made the beast of the earth after its kind, and the cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the ground after its kind. And Hashem saw that it was good.
Okay. Roy, you want to continue?
Uh,
402.
402.
No,
402? No,
no, 403.
403.
402.
We didn't read 402 yet.
402.
Yeah. Where's 401? No,
401 was the end of the last section.
right.
Top of page
And what
282.
did Alan read then?
Top of
He-
page 282.
Oh, you're getting into Alan read the last two psukim. Last two
Oh.
psukim.
Oh, he read after. Okay, to clarify what I read. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
402.
So I read 402, do I?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so respect the divine order in God's creation is the second call to man. You should not interfere with the natural order which you find fixed by God in his world for its ultimate good. You must, by respecting the boundaries of that order, guard yourself against allowing the free use and transformation of this world, which he has granted to you, to degenerate into a God-forgotten, world-destructive presumption. First, let us learn the limits which God, the creator of that world order, has set for our observance. True, even if we were possessed of all human knowledge, we should still know only the external appearance of things. We should know only what they appear to be to us and gather therefrom what they are in reality. Nevertheless, for the sake of clarification and classification, let us try, as far as we're able to do so with our limited powers, to gain some insight into the laws which ask us to respect the divine order of the universe.
Okay, so that's the second call to man. And if you're wondering what was the first call to man, that was what we read in the previous chapter, which started off this whole section that he calls Hukim. The first one was don't destroy anything. That's the first call. So this is the second call, respect the divine order in Hashem's creation. Okay, so now we're going to hopefully get a little bit more specific about what exactly this entails. And we go to section 403, and we go to Lou to please read for us section 403.
First law, do not use animals of diverse kind to copulate, nor allow this to be caused by others. Even if animals of diverse kinds, such as wolf and dog, country dog and fox, goat and deer, chamois and sheep, horse and mule, mule and donkey, show some anatomical similarities, live together, and if forced to copulate fruitfully, they must nevertheless not be paired with one with another. Animals of one kind may be paired with one another, but where essential anatomical differences exist, copulation is forbidden. Thus, goose and wild goose, etc. Those born of such an opposing union may not be paired with the parental kind, but they may be paired with others of the same breed, provided they have the same parentage. Therefore, mule with mule and hinny, which is a donkey mule, with hinny, but not mule with hinny, and neither of them with horse or donkey, with horse and donkey. The offspring of opposed pairing may be used, and if from two clean kinds, it may be used for food. Law does not forbid the hatchling of eggs of one bird by another kind of bird, but this is forbidden for another reason. See chapter 60.
Okay. Okay, so that's the first law. Keep the different animals and birds separate from one another, because that's the respecting Hashem's divine order in creation. And that, I guess, was the allusion to all of the different psukim that he brought. We saw so many times it says Hashem made the beast of the earth after its kind, and the cattle after its kind, and everything that creeps on the ground after its kind. So we see this emphasis in the psukim of everything has its own kind, and it's supposed to be separate and distinct from other kinds. Okay, so maybe now we'll do 404.
Joe?
Whose turn is it now, Mayor?
Please.
Could be. I can go. 404.
She's gonna go with me. Now.
Says this says, okay, this is the second law. Do not graft trees of diverse kind onto each other, nor cause this to be done by others. Similarly, you may not do this with herbs on trees, or trees onto herbs, or herbs onto herbs of differing kinds. Timber trees which do not bear fruit may be grafted onto one another, but not onto fruit trees, and vice versa. One may not allow herbs which have been sown over a sunken vine to take root there unless there are 3 handbreadths of soil on top. But it is allowed in the root of a tree under the earth if the kinds are different. External similarity does not matter. Varieties of the same kind may legally be grafted onto each other. Nevertheless, since in normal life, the faculty of distinguishing between the species and types cannot be assured in sufficient measure, one is advised to refrain from grafting together. It is also forbidden to preserve that which has been grafted without your doing anything. The fruit of a grafted tree may be eaten, and the branches of a grafted tree may be replanted. In Eretz Yisrael, it is forbidden to sow 2 kinds of plant seed in one throw. They may only be sown at such a distance from each other as not to take nourishment from the one place, or they should be given separate places outwards. But this prohibition only exists with plant seed and does not extend to tree seed. Furthermore, it is forbidden to sow vine seed with 2 sorts of corn or other edible plant seed in one throw, or next to each other, or in one vineyard. The product of such wrongful sowing may not be eaten, nor may any benefit be derived from it. One may not eat it or otherwise benefit from it outside Eretz Yisrael.
Sorry. Did you say one may not?
How often?
It says, let's see, the product of such wrongful sowing may not be eaten, nor may any benefit be derived from it. One may eat it or otherwise benefit from it outside Eretz Yisrael, even though the prohibition of sowing vine seed together with two other sorts in one throw remains operative as a gezerah, also outside Eretz Yisrael.
Huh. Wow. Wow. A lot of details. Okay. Okay, the third law, section 405. And we go to Alan to continue.
The third law, you may not allow one task to be done together by animals of two species. You may not allow them to carry the smallest thing together, even if it be only one seed, be only the seed. Therefore, you may not even use the voice in order to drive forward animals of differing species that are yoked together. You may not sit in a wagon which is joined by animals of different species.
Ooh. Okay. Something to keep in mind the next time you're in a a buggy or a cabin. Okay, usually they just have one animal anyway. Okay, so the fourth law, 406, back to Lou.
406. Fourth law. You may not cover or warm the body by means of a material which is a combination of wool and linen. The only combination that is forbidden is that of sheep's wool and flax. All other materials are permitted. Such a combination of linen and wool is called shatnez. According to the interpretation of most authorities, the only thing which is asur midoraisa is either wool or flax, which have been combined, spun, and woven together, or a close combination by means of weaving, sewing, connecting, etc., of wool which has been separated, combed, spun, and twined, with linen which has been separated, treated, spun, and twined. Yet all other means of combination, for example, wood and flax, which have not only been combined and spun together, but with regard e.g., wool, flax can be combined and spun together, or which have been worked into felt, are forbidden by rabbinical decree. According to the interpretation of Maimonides, every form of combination of wool and linen is prohibited by biblical law. Even a single thread of the other kind in the whole garment makes the garment forbidden. Only such clothing or covering for warmth is forbidden by biblical law. But by rabbinical decree, it is forbidden even to sit on shatnez, even without direct contact, even with 10 other coverings between. Hard pieces of shatnez, derisa, which do not give warmth are forbidden for covering, but are permitted for seating, if not in direct contact. Shatnez to Rabbanan is permitted in such a case, even for covering. All things which might with ease be wrapped around the hand or part of the body that give warmth, such as towels, tablecloths, curtains, and similar things, should not be used if made out of shatnez. These mixtures are forbidden only as articles of clothing, but there is no prohibition on their manufacture or for any other use.
Hmm. So there's prohibition of shatnez is only when it's when you're getting using it to cover yourself or warm the goof. That's the definition of clothing. That's when it's shatnez is forbidden, when it's used as clothing. But otherwise, for any other use, I don't know what that use would be. It would be permissible. Okay. Okay, so that's shatnez. Also, these are all examples of the Torah's prohibition of forbidden combinations of things, and this is all according to the command, the second call that we have. Hashem called us to respect the divine order in Hashem's creation. Okay. Fifth law, and we go to, who's after Lou? Is Roy.
The fifth law says, do not boil meat and milk together. The only thing that is prohibited by biblical law, mitaroisa, is the boiling together of meat and milk of clean animals. This applies only to clean cattle, such as ox, sheep, and goat, but not to clean wild animals and birds. Nevertheless, except in cases of illness, the boiling of the permitted meat and milk is, for the sake of appearances, forbidden. The meat of fish may be boiled in milk. Only the milk which is taken from the udder of a living cow may not be boiled with meat. According to the Torah, only the combining by fire, it's cooking, of meat and milk is forbidden, but by rabbinical decree, midrabanan, other compoundings are also forbidden, such as by salting, pickling, soaking, etc. See Yoreh De'ah 87. Like the vineyard mixture, paragraph 404, which we had here, the mixing of meat and milk remains prohibited, not only for food, but for all uses. See paragraph 453, which is quite a distance from here, because we're in 407. Here, there is a prohibition in the boiling itself, no matter what the purpose. Therefore, you may not boil meat and milk together, even for a non-Jew.
Oh, okay. The cooking itself is forbidden. Doesn't, even if it's for a non-Jew, right? Okay. Okay. 408. Back to Mayor.
Oh, okay. 408. Let us take together all these laws which God, the designer of the world, has decreed us to observe in this world. What concept results from viewing these statutes and the hints which have been passed on to us by our sages? We hear the call. Look around, man. Look around you in the great household of the universe. See how every being which lives and develops has a great law for its own species imprinted upon it by God. According to this law, every creature first transforms all that it absorbs from the creation into suitable food for itself, enlarging itself, and then uses a surplus of its corresponding powers to generate a being similar to itself. See how every self-developing being, plant, animal, lives for itself and for its species. Watch this law of divine order in the universe and respect it in your own human activities to perfect your essential human self. Do not forget that God has summoned you to the task of serving the world and cultivating it protectingly, but not to enter destructively into this orderly course of development through your self-seeking. Do not forget this, and do not put the powers of a created being, which have been designated for its own species, to use of sustaining another species. In this context, two heterogeneous species are called kolayim, from the root kuflamid aleph, to close up. For God's law of creation has closed them to each other, and they only combine their powers by external compulsion. It is in this way, as such single beings, each gifted with powers of development for itself and its species, that the independent animal and trees and plants which grow from the womb of Mother Earth stand before you. To mix and graft various species of animals and plants is to make a mockery of this law of creation. Okay, let's see. It's a long one. Okay. We distinguish between plants which put forth branches and leaves upon a normal lasting trunk, namely trees and other plants which annually spring up anew from the earth without a trunk, and whose stem is really only a leaf stalk. The trunk of the tree is really an individual single being containing within itself powers for its own life and for its own propagation. To other plants, the soil itself is what the trunk is to the tree. And so you would think that there would be another kind of client for the remaining plant world other than trees, namely transfusing the powers of a plot of earth which belong to one specific species to another species by sewing them together or too close to one another. This kind of kolayim would indeed exist if the earth as a whole were not a single unit and an individual being, the common mother, on which all species have an equal weight. There is therefore in general no kolayim in the earth, and even the tree root itself belongs to the earth. But in the land of Israel, which has a specific designation and therefore stands in itself as a unique piece of creation, and which has been given to Israel as the soil for its unique life fulfillment, you should demonstrate respect for that law of creation in your cultivation of this soil. And as a direct mixing of different species is not involved, The following prohibition, Kalai Zerayim, must be considered merely as a demonstration and proclamation of a double sanctity. The sanctity of the natural law of the separation of the species as created by God, and the sanctity of the soil of the Holy Land. Thus, you may not sow together in the Holy Land two varying kinds of plants other than trees, nor sow one kind within the space with another kind, which another kind covers, whether by your designation or by its own growth. As mentioned before, this does not apply to tree seeds because the trunk of the tree is an individual single being. Right.
Hey, very good. Okay, Hashikoya, everyone. And we will, we wish Mayor a great day
Okay,
and a wonderful Erev Rosh Chodesh
thank
and a
you.
good Rosh Chodesh, a good Chodesh, Chodesh Tov, Ezrat Hashem.
Okay, good Chodesh to all of you, and be well.
Thank you.
Yeah, be well, Maria. See you.
Okay, thank you.